I love the idea of Bitcoin because I love the idea of financial autonomy, but it turns out that it has not, to this point, been a way to conduct financial transactions privately, and that really freaks me out. I fear that it will become, like so many other things in our country, a scam of sorts, and nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was, the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. You know, I grew up in DC primarily, in a government family, so CIA.
Tucker Carlson just gave one of the most confused takes on Bitcoin we've heard in years. He loves the idea of financial freedom, but somehow thinks Bitcoin is the path to totalitarian control. He thinks Roger Ver represents Bitcoin's true believers. He thinks the CIA created it to control us. And he completely misses the single biggest reason Bitcoin exists in the first place: to fix the money itself, not to hide from it. Today, we're going to unpack everything Tucker got wrong, and why his confusion actually reveals just how deep the fiat illusion runs. Welcome to No Second Best, the show where conviction meets reality, and reality points straight to Bitcoin. I'm your host, Hurley. Now let's get into it. This clip comes from Tucker's Q&A at a Turning Point USA event at Indiana University yesterday. Someone in the audience asked a simple question: do you invest in Bitcoin? And what followed was a 3-minute answer that perfectly captures the fiat mindset: fear of what you don't understand, and blind trust in what's already broken. Let's play the clip in full, and then we'll break it down piece by piece.
Do you invest in Bitcoin? Do you think it's like a viable asset to invest in?
Oh man, I don't want to make more enemies. I mean, you want the real, it's my last answer, but you want the actual answer?
Yeah, sure.
And here's why. I spoke at the Bitcoin conference actually last year. I've spoken at a couple of Bitcoin conferences. I love the idea of Bitcoin because I love the idea of financial autonomy. I don't want what I buy or sell to be tracked. I don't want my money to be tracked. It's nobody's business. I pay my taxes. I've never cheated on my taxes. I've been very tempted, but I never have one time cheated on my taxes. And once the money's mine, like, I can do what I want with it. And if you find me breaking the law, arrest me. But if you don't, it's none of your beeswax, as the kids say. So I love the idea of the blockchain. I knew some of the people involved in that whole thing. And I still believe in that promise, okay? Roger Ver, for example. I don't know how closely do you follow this, but like, there are people who still believe in that. But it turns out that it is not, to this point, been, I hope it will be, a way to conduct financial transactions privately at all. And that really freaks me out. I'm really afraid of a digital currency because that is totalitarian control. If you can punish people, if you can zero out their bank account and keep them from eating, you will have total obedience. Like, that's totalitarian. And I know that young people love crypto because they've been completely screwed in the job market and there are no financial opportunities for most of them. And they know they're staring down a life of, if not poverty, certainly a step down from the way they grew up, most young people. And so Bitcoin for them, crypto in general for them, is a promise of, like, how can I make it in this world? Like, I would like to have a normal life. How can I do that? And crypto is a way they think that they can. And I'm praying for them. I hope that's true. But I fear that it will become, like so many other things in our country, a scam of sorts, run by a coalition of the financial beneficiaries, like a few people who are getting all the winnings, and the politicians they control who use it to further their control of American society. I'm really worried about that. And so I'll just be totally blunt with you. I'm a gold buyer, and I've been vindicated big time in that. And everyone's like, oh, you're crazy, buying gold. Yeah. You know, it was good enough for the Phoenicians. It's good enough for me. And I, in general, don't get involved in anything I don't understand. I think that's a really good rule. There's some things I think I understand. It turns out I didn't understand them. But in general, I try to limit myself to things I understand. And nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was, the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. You know, I grew up in DC primarily, in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it. But, like, you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is, like, mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. Like, what is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Do I know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me.
Let's start where Tucker starts, with privacy. Tucker says he loves the idea of Bitcoin because he wants his money to be untracked. That's a good instinct. But here's the first big misunderstanding. Bitcoin wasn't created to fix privacy. It was created to fix money itself. It solves the corruption, manipulation, and political control over money that has destroyed savings and distorted markets for generations. Financial privacy is important, yes, but it's a second-order problem. The first-order problem is the money printer. The US dollar is designed to lose value over time. Those closest to the money spigot, Wall Street, government contractors, and the politically connected, get new money first before it debases. Then the already wealthy get their assets driven up in value while everyone else watches their wages lag behind inflation. Bitcoin fixes this. It caps the money supply at 21 million. Forever. No bailouts, no printing, no manipulation. That's what financial autonomy actually looks like. Then Tucker pivots into another misconception, that young people love crypto because they've been screwed by the job market and can't get ahead financially. There is truth buried in here. People have been robbed by the system, but it's not the job market that broke, it's the money that broke. He is right that the worsening affordability crisis has left many in younger generations disillusioned and looking for a quick fix through crypto speculation and gambling. Now let's talk about some nuance. Bitcoin is the first and only true cryptocurrency. Everything else, the tens of thousands of cryptos that came after, are speculative copies, casino chips designed to enrich insiders by enticing confused retail. As Bitcoiners, we separate Bitcoin from crypto because Bitcoin isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's an escape hatch from the fiat treadmill. So when Tucker says people love crypto because they can't find financial opportunity, he's describing broader crypto altcoins. On the other side of that, more and more people globally are discovering Bitcoin because it exposes how much opportunity the fiat system has stolen from them. This next one was almost laughable. Tucker cites Roger Ver, of all people, calling him someone who, quote, still believes in the promise of blockchain. For anyone new here, Roger Ver is a controversial figure from the 2017 block size wars. He led a group that tried to force Bitcoin to scale by increasing block size, effectively making it impossible for average people to run nodes, centralizing control under big miners and corporations. The market rejected that fork. Bitcoin stayed decentralized, and Roger went on to promote his hard fork, Bitcoin Cash, which has since collapsed in both value and credibility. So when Tucker points to Roger Ver as an example of a real Bitcoiner, it's like citing the guy who tried to hijack the protocol as a hero. It shows he hasn't done even the most basic homework on Bitcoin's history. Next, Tucker says he's afraid of digital currency because, quote, that's totalitarian control. If the government can freeze your bank account or stop you from eating, he says, you'll have total obedience. On that part, he's actually right. But again, he's describing CBDCs, not Bitcoin. Central bank digital currencies are surveillance money. Bitcoin is the antidote. A CBDC lets the state decide what you can buy and when. Bitcoin lets you hold and send value with no permission from anyone. No one can freeze your wallet, reverse a transaction, or zero out your account. The irony here is painful. Tucker fears exactly what Bitcoin prevents. Next, he says he's worried Bitcoin will turn into another scam, run by, quote, financial beneficiaries and politicians who use it to further control society. But again, ironically, that's literally the definition of the fiat system we live in now. The Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, gives it to the politically connected first, and leaves the rest of us holding the bag. If Tucker's describing a rigged game, he's describing the dollar. Bitcoin ends that by removing the middleman altogether. No central issuer, no political discretion, just math. Then we get to the part that's been echoing across social media. Tucker says he doesn't trust Bitcoin because, quote, nobody can tell me who Satoshi is. And since he grew up in a government family, his guess is that it's the CIA. This is classic conspiracy theory FUD that many people unfortunately eat up. The assumption that if something challenges the system, it must secretly be the system. If the CIA created Bitcoin, why would they make it open source? Why make it impossible to censor? Why fix the supply forever? That's the opposite of every government's playbook for monetary control. And even if Satoshi did work for the CIA, it still wouldn't matter. The network is decentralized, verifiable, and immune to human control. Even if Satoshi came back tomorrow, he couldn't change a single rule without global consensus. That's the beauty of it. Satoshi's identity means nothing to Bitcoin's integrity. We can audit the code, we can verify the supply, and we can see the network's behavior. Again, it doesn't run on trust, it runs on math. I love what Terrence Michael posted on X. Tucker doesn't know who Satoshi is, so he won't use Bitcoin. He must equally not use the internet, electricity, writing, or the wheel. Exactly. We don't need to know who invented these life-changing technologies. We only need to know that they work. Tucker also worries that Bitcoin isn't private and that a digital money system without privacy could become dangerous. Now, he's partially right here. Privacy does matter. And yes, Bitcoin transactions are public, but there's nuance here that he misses. Bitcoin transactions are what you'd call pseudo-anonymous. The addresses are public, but no identities are tied to them at the network level. Privacy erosion happens when governments force identity layers on top through KYC and AML laws on exchanges. Peer-to-peer Bitcoin is actually quite private if used correctly. And there are tools today, CoinJoins, PayJoins, and privacy wallets that make it even more so. The developer community is well aware of these trade-offs and is constantly working to improve them. But again, Bitcoin fixes the bigger problem first. Not who can see your transactions, but who can debase your money. And in Bitcoin's case, that's no one. Finally, Tucker says he's a gold buyer and feels vindicated by its strong performance in 2025. That's fine. Gold served humanity for thousands of years. But it's important to note that gold failed because it required trust in vaults, custodians, and governments. And that's exactly where the system broke. Governments printed paper claims on gold, then printed more paper than gold existed, and finally removed the gold entirely. And so gold's failures are exactly how we got into this fiat mess in the first place. Bitcoin is the only viable way forward for our money. It's self-custodied, verifiable, and divisible. You can move $1 billion worth of Bitcoin across borders in 10 minutes. No middleman, no permission. Gold can't do that. So even if Michael Saylor, who sat down with Tucker one-on-one in 2021, couldn't orange pill him, maybe Tucker just isn't destined to get it. Tucker says he doesn't invest in things he doesn't understand. That's actually good advice, as long as you're willing to learn. If you want to understand Bitcoin, not just trade it, and build a serious generational position the right way, talk to the Swan Private team today. Swan Private works with high net worth individuals, families, and companies who want to own real Bitcoin securely, guided by experts who understand the macro and the mission. Visit swan.com/no-second-best to learn more. Tucker's skepticism reveals exactly why Bitcoin matters. He fears control, yet defends the system that embodies it. He distrusts the state, but clings to the money the state controls. Bitcoin doesn't ask for trust. It invites you to verify. And for those willing to look deeper, it's not a CIA plot. It's an exit from the monetary one we've all been living in for the last 50 plus years. But what do you think? Is Tucker just missing the point? Or has he been legitimately deceived by bad actors like Roger Ver? And what does this profound misunderstanding of Bitcoin say about how early we are? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit the like button if this helped clarify the noise, share it with someone still afraid of the CIA Bitcoin theory, and don't forget to subscribe to the Swan Bitcoin channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and remember, there is no second best money.